everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Arts at EPCC. My name is Dr. Yasmine Flores, and with me today is one of our music students, Mr. Sebastian Calderon. Hello, Sebastian.
Hi.
Hi. So first of all, thank you so much for coming and doing the show, because it was kind of last minute. It was like one of those things this morning. I was like, does anybody want to come by and do the show? And so I was so glad that you said yes. So Sebastian, I was telling you in the green room just a moment ago, I said, you know, one of the things that we sort of, I don't want to say we neglect it at the college, but I think that there's a focus at many colleges across the United States on new students. Right? Like fresh out of high school, 18. We've got, of course, we've discussed this with my audience. First time in college, the first year experience program here at EPCC. So if you have any high school seniors that are interested in El Paso Community College, contact the first year experience program under Sandra Lujan. But you are not a first year student, you are a transfer student. And so I kind of want to talk a little bit about your experiences as a transfer student and what drew you to EPCC, and also kind of some of the classes that you're studying. So first of all, what is your instrument?
So I am a vocal singer.
Yes. A vocalist. Yes, excellent. And what is your voice type?
I sing baritone.
Baritone. Oh yes, you just reminded me of your last performance.
Yeah.
It was so good. Yeah. I loved that. Like you don't even know, because here's what's funny. So you speak, and we can kind of talk about the voice a little bit. And this is something that baritones do. I have a very good friend, George Wheeler. I don't know if you know Mr. Wheeler, but he also teaches at EPCC. He's the other voice person.
Oh yeah.
Okay. He's a baritone. And so when George speaks, and my old friend Rick McDowell used to talk about this, but Rick would say baritones can very easily access the falsetto. They have no issue speaking higher. So it's like they have no issue accessing the upper range, right? And so when I hear you speak, my first knee-jerk reaction is, this is a tenor. And then you sang the other day, and I was like, who is that, right? Who is that man, right? It is Señor Calderon, right?
Right.
It was just so awesome. What is the lowest note you can sing?
The lowest note I can sing, possibly an E2.
E2, okay, so let's tell the folks at home what that is, because we have a lot of folks that don't know how to read music.
Yeah.
So we have a system in music where middle C on the piano is called C4. So if you sit in front of a piano and literally you park yourself right in the middle and you find the C that's in the middle, that is known as C4. So an octave lower is C3, 2 octaves lower is C2. So he sings about a third right above that. Just pretty low, right? Yeah. It's C3, I'm thinking, you're one ledger line below the bass clef staff. That's about your lowest note. That's awesome. Yeah. And then how high do you sing?
High, it will be C5?
Yes.
Oh. I was going to C6.
I was going to very quickly correct you. I was like, unless you're talking about falsetto range, which at that point
falsetto
maybe falsetto, maybe you could kind of reach above the treble clef staff.
Yeah.
So the baritone is a very interesting voice type. And so, and it's just stunning, just absolutely stunning. Can you sing a scale for us?
A scale?
Yeah.
Any kind of scale? Any
kind of scale. What about major? Let's just be simple, Sebastian.
Okay. Solfege?
Yes. Use solfege. Now we're putting him on. We're putting him on the spot. Here we go.
Okay.
So here, sing with me. Do. Yeah. See, you've got that nice, dark, just a beautiful, rich, velvety voice. Sebastian, I'm assuming mid-20s, early 20s? Early 20s?
Early 20s.
So here's what's interesting to the folks at home about the male voice versus the female voice.
Yeah.
The female voice, and you can tell me what you know about this as well. The female voice matures very early, like females. I went there. And so it matures about 16 or 17 years old. But male voices, how old are you all when your voice peaks?
peaks probably at age 15.
No.
Okay.
35.
Okay.
35. And then you guys can keep going almost till 70 or a little past 70.
Yeah.
Whereas the women start to back out around late 50s, early 60s. That's when it's kind of, you start to, women start to get more of a wobble in the voice. The voice is not going to be quite as strong. But the men's voices will keep going for about another decade or so. Mm-hmm. So that's what's interesting about the male voice versus the female voice. And so let me ask you, how long have you been singing?
So I've been singing for about like 5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And were you in high school choir?
In my junior year, I actually started as a string player in middle school.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're a secret string player.
Yeah.
Interesting. You shouldn't have told me that. Dr. Vasquez, he plays strings. What did you play?
I play the viola. Yeah.
That's and those are such a specialty because everybody plays violin.
Yeah.
Violin is like, what instrument in the band? Actually, I hate to say it, but my instrument. Everybody played the clarinet.
Yeah.
Everybody played
Everyone
the
plays
clarinet.
the
I don't
clarinet.
know why, but the violin is very similar. I think that fewer people played flute. More people play clarinet, I think, than anything else. And I don't know why that is. Because most clarinetists, like in retrospect, they didn't love it. It was always like a hand-me-down. It's always like, it was in the attic. It belonged to my dad. It was like, all right, I guess I'll play it. But for you, so you played the viola, and how well did you, so were you enjoying the viola? What drew you to choir?
So what drew me to choir? It was because of rumors about the choir director. The high school that I used to attend. They said it was one of the best choirs. They had a lot of trophies.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's why I got interested. And because I used to, I like to sing sometimes. So I said, like, you know what, like, why not? Just join. Why not?
Right. That's awesome. And so you joined the program, and like a duck to water, you loved it.
Yeah.
And so did they notice right away, like, were you just very good at it right away?
It's
okay to say yes. I hate to sound, just want to feel braggy, right?
Well, not until my second year when they just placed me as a tenor, and where I came to my senses that I cannot really sing that high register. Right. So I said, let me try bass. And that's where people notice how you say how breathtaking I sounded
in that lower register.
Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah.
How funny. And you were comfortable in that register.
Yes.
Awesome. And so you got into it in choir, and then you went off to college. And then how did you come to us? How did you find out about the EPCC music program?
I didn't. I find it out myself. I didn't know EPCC had music.
Yeah. And you know what? That's why we do the show. It's literally so. And I can kind of tell you a brief story. When I first got to EPCC, and it's still a problem. I mean, I don't think, because there's always going to be a new population of seniors. It's a constant battle to get people to know that we have fine arts at the college. And so whenever we do like the tables down in the C building for Campus Life, with the clubs, whatever we're doing that's recruitment, it comes to a big shock to a lot of people that we have art and theater and dance and music. Like, what? Like, I didn't know the community college had that. And yes, we do. The arts at EPCC, that's the name of the show. So you looked it up and you found that we had a music program and you contacted us. How did you contact us?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I did not contact you
Oh,
at all. I think you contacted me first.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Were you already enrolled at the college?
I was.
Okay.
I was, but with just my curriculum, but not my music classes.
Got it. So you got one of the generic emails.
Yeah, I got my generic emails.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, those generic emails work. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I just sent out a batch of those the other day, and that's why you came by for advising. So, and just to let everybody know, so each of the disciplines have an advisor for their program. So for theater, it's Ted Carver. For dance, it's Alexis Anderson Chavez. Who am I missing? For me, obviously for music, it's me. And then for art, it's Sarala Aguilar. So each of the programs have their faculty advisor that you can contact and ask and say, tell me a little bit more about your program and how it works. And so I gave you this email. You came by, you saw me, or we emailed each other. And I gave you the schedule. I met you in Music Theory 1. You're one of my Music Theory 1 kiddos. But you're not a child. People get offended. You can't use the word kiddo anymore. So now I'm going to ask you a famous question. So you've been here now for how long?
So my first semester was online.
Mm-hmm.
So this might be my first time in person.
Got it. Okay.
But it's my second semester.
Awesome. So you've been here for 2 semesters. And, well, we're in the middle of your second semester. Mm-hmm. And you did your first semester online. What was your experience with the online versus in person?
The online, you have a lot of time for yourself. Mm-hmm. You know how to manage your time. Mm-hmm. To just get things done quickly.
Sure, right.
That's the benefit for online classes, that you'll always have time to do it.
Right, that's true.
And it takes dedication and commitment.
Yes, it does. And that's so key. And I'm glad you said that, because we have a lot of students that do online, especially after the pandemic. Mm-hmm. The pandemic introduced, so let me tell you another funny thing. I never taught online before the pandemic. And so I was thrown into it and I was like, what is happening? What's happening? Right? I was like, oh my God. And so here's a funny one. I would send a message out to the students any day of the week, because again, I'm thinking, all right, well, it's online. I had students, this is hilarious. I had a student make a comment that said, Dr. Flores sends us messages sometimes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but the class is Mondays and Wednesdays. Because they were stuck to the face-to-face. Yeah. So this was during the pandemic. They got stuck to the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And they were like, why is she sending us messages on Tuesdays and Thursdays? Because they had not realized that the format for online is any day, anytime, right? Mm-hmm. Because you can come back and see it at your own convenience. It's not like you have to answer the email right away or the message, right? So that was so funny to me. Everybody was getting used to it. So you did online, you liked it because it allows you a lot of spare time. And then now you're face to face with us, and we eat up a lot of your time. Our Music Theory 1 course. Our Music Theory 1 course is a 3 credit hour course, but it's 2 hours Mondays, 2 hours Wednesdays, and 2 hours on Fridays, right? And so because of that, what it is, it's a course with the lab. And so the first half of the semester is music fundamentals. The second half of the semester is Music Theory 1. And so right now we are in the thick of it. We officially started everyone's favorite chapter, which is species counterpoint. And I got all sorts of odd questions today about species counterpoint. Yeah. But essentially, species counterpoint, for those of you that are interested, is basically we're studying the music that basically existed before J.S. Bach, because we're learning everything chronologically. And so once you learn things chronologically, you start to realize where the rules were broken, right? How music changed over time, so that when you do just write your own music, you can sit there and go, okay, well, if I'm trying to imitate this era, or if I'm trying to imitate this particular composer, I know I have to avoid these certain chords or these certain methods to part writing, right? Mm-hmm. Like if I gave you an assignment and I said, okay, you need to write I don't know, write a string quartet, just a section A of first movement of a string quartet in the style of Haydn. So there's certain chords you wouldn't be allowed to use, right? Because they just wouldn't be Haydn-esque, okay? So now that you will have that knowledge, now you're going to be like, oh, I can do this assignment hopefully very comfortably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, how many, are you full-time this semester?
I am part-time.
You are part-time. What is your favorite class of everything you're taking right now?
So one of my favorite class is, you said voice instruction, voice lessons? Yeah.
Yes, voice lessons.
Yeah.
Sure. So this is our MUAP, and you're probably enrolled in MUAP. Give me a second. That is 1282. Okay, that's your second semester of voice lessons, and you have the hour long. And so, what is a piece you sang a couple weeks ago?
So it was an Italian piece by, I forgot the composer's name.
Okay.
It was an Italian piece called El mio bel fuoco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And did you enjoy? Are you enjoying classical voice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you going to pursue classical voice, or are you going to pursue something more on the pop side?
I'm going to pursue more on the classical.
Okay.
Because I think it's very important to know the history of classical music, Baroque era and medieval.
Okay.
Yeah, because those were very important.
Right. And people don't realize that, they're the root of everything else that we have.
How music started, yeah.
Right. So maybe a fan of Monteverdi, perhaps, because he's the Renaissance, like late Renaissance. And then there's also, now I'm trying to think during that time period. Early Baroque is going to be Henry Purcell, of course, J.S. Bach, Handel. So you're looking at those eras, and medieval is before that. That's more like Michaud. We have Josquin. Yes. So you're studying those composers. You're fascinated with that. What are you going to do once you're done? Once you're DUN?
Once I'm done, I'm going to go back to school again.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back, teach and study to work on my 2 degrees that I'm like very ambitious about. And yeah, those are like that's not. I'm just setting out little goals, smallest goals to start. You need to start small.
Yes.
Don't start big.
Yes.
And
so I love that. And let me I'm going to build on what you're saying. It's very easy, for example, for me, I'll use myself as an example, for me to say, I'm going to record 10 albums.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like,
what?
good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And especially with our schedules, right? It's like, well, where am I going to record? Recording, people don't realize recording takes months to put together a CD sometimes, because you have to look at the recording studio, their availability, the recording engineer, all of these things. So you have to work out everybody's schedule, their availability, rehearsing, practicing, all these things. So that would be quite a challenge to try to record 10 albums, right?
Yeah.
So, but you said the key word, in small chunks.
Yeah.
So you chunk your goals, and I like that.
I do.
And people don't.
Exactly. They don't. They don't teach them in high school. They don't.
No.
They don't tell them that.
Where did you learn it?
I learned it from. It's gonna sound stupid. From Learning Framework. The class that I took.
Oh, the education.
Yeah,
okay.
The 1-300 Learning Framework.
Yes, the education. So let's talk about that class, because now I could pick your brain about that one. So everyone at the college is working on an AA degree. Most people, I should say, most people that are working on the AA degree, they'll have a requirement to take a course called Education 1300 Learning Framework. And that course, we rattle off that number because it's literally the entry-level course for a lot of these AA degrees. And some of us, because I'm not from educational psychology, I don't know, I'm from music, people ask me what the course is. I'm like, I can give you a ballpark idea as to what that course is. And I think what it is that, this is my understanding, it teaches you how to learn. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, like kind of understanding that not many people that you're going to see in college are, how do you say, traditional students or non-traditional students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, and you said, and you know what? I'm going to tell you, Sebastian, that lesson of chunking your goals is worth the $400 that you paid for the course. I promise.
Yeah.
Because that's so key. So I'm going to give everybody an idea. I'm going to give you an idea as well. And maybe you already do this, right?
That's okay, yeah.
I like to do this. If you take a piece of paper and you draw like bubbles, like a circle, and you go, this is the house I want. And you can do this on like Google Docs or something where you can like drag images onto there. You can drag a mansion onto there. You're like, I want that 3-story mansion with the jacuzzi and a swimming pool and a tennis court, okay? I want to drive a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. Mm-hmm. I want to record 20 albums. Okay. Then you look at your timeline, okay? Mm-hmm. When do you think it's going to be time for you to like maybe take a nice long vacation in Hawaii and just kind of like sail off into the sunset and call it a day? On average, I would say that perhaps the average American, it's around 80 years old, that's pretty good, I think. Like I'm lucky if I'll live to be 80. Well, I'll be impressed. So if you have approximately, at this point, 55-ish years, right, until you turn 80, you have 55 years to get that mansion, to get that Ferrari, to get the Lamborghini, to get the 20 albums. Yeah. So how many years do you have to record each album? You see what I'm saying? That's chunking. Yeah. That's the chunking, because you'd have to really work out the logic. Like, okay, if I start recording an album this summer, we don't get done until next summer, then in 2 years I have to start recording another album, right? Yeah. And start really working on that. And so that class taught you that. Yeah. That's awesome. Now I kind of want to take that class. Education 1300. Okay. And so that's such an amazing lesson, because so I kind of saw you rolling your eyes a moment ago, because I think that you're thinking of some other students. And so what are some of the pitfalls that you see amongst your fellow students?
The biggest flaw about my peers is that they're not quite prepared. Oh. They're not prepared. Yeah. Or they consume a lot of time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? What? Well, shenanigans, exactly. You know, I love it. Not knowing that, you know, you're paying, these classes are not free, you're paying for it. Right. So it's best that you make it worth the money that you spend. Right. Exactly. That's something like everyone should think about it when you're taking classes. Remember, you're spending money in these classes. Like, yeah, you cannot afford to fail them. Mm-hmm. Or retake them again. Right. Like you have to do them. You have to do well. And you know what? And you're absolutely right. Because that's the problem. And so I think a lot of folks, and I call it shenanigans, right? Some people have, and I will, so I can kind of describe various students, student types, where we have several older adults that are coming back who already have degrees, but they want to do a music degree. Mm-hmm. We have some younger adults who have families plus jobs that are doing this, and they want to get a better job, so they're sticking with their passion, and they're really fighting through it. And so they work very hard to do their homework, to get to class, to do these things, but there's a lot going on in their lives, right? Exactly. Yeah. We have another set of students that, like you, are transfer students, right? Yeah. That, and so what is the difference between the 4-year and here? So, okay. So the 4-year university is a big campus. So I think the biggest flaw of it is that you probably won't have a lot of help. You won't get the help that you need, especially if you're struggling with a material that you're not understanding.
Right.
So it's whoever the professor it is, they might not have time.
Right.
Yeah,
and I can understand that, because I know sometimes here at EPCC where I'm running around sometimes, but I think the beauty of this college, I will say, is that the classes are small enough that I am able to access each of you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I notice.
Yeah, kind of corral you guys in, and that's all of us in the music program.
Yeah.
That's Dr. Vasquez, Dr. Garola. A lot of us will reach out to you guys when we don't see you or something. It's like, hey, whatever happened to, and so, or we have those heart-to-hearts sometimes, because that's when it's time, like to really like, you need to rein it in, and we need to figure this out. So I think that's absolutely beautiful, and you're absolutely right, and that is the thing that sells this program very well, is that it is smaller classes. I can focus on you all a little bit easier than, for example, biology at a 4-year.
Yeah.
A biology course at a 4-year, sometimes like 200 are enrolled in the class or something. And it's a huge lecture hall, and it just looks like, stadium seating. And so the teacher doesn't learn everybody's names. It's just like, so it is very interesting. Awesome. So Sebastian, where do you see yourself in about a decade?
In about a decade, I see myself leading choir.
Leading a choir. Awesome.
Specifically a women's chamber.
A women's chamber choir.
Yes.
Okay.
That's one of my goals that I'm reaching.
Okay.
Inspiring.
Yes. So you love the sound of the women's choir, the women's voices. Okay.
Yes, and I see myself focusing on women, history of women in music, women composers.
Oh.
So I found out a lot of things. Like the most women's composers have siblings.
Right.
For example, Felix had a sister named Fanny.
Yes, correct.
Amazing composer. I think if you're into music like me, you should really listen to Fanny.
Fanny Mendelssohn.
Yes.
And so if you're interested in working with Mr. Calderon in a few years, keep an eye out for him. He'll have some flyers out on Instagram, or the next big thing, right? To invite you to come and sing. Sebastian, as always, a pleasure. I will see you in class on Monday. But for the rest of you all, I will see you next time. So until then, au revoir. Goodbye, everybody.